What's happening, everybody? It is Trey here. I'm joined again by my dad, Sean, and today on Reactions to the Classics, we're going to be taking a look at Neil Young's classic album, After the Gold Rush. We heard his record, Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere, dug that, and then decided to go on to his next really acclaimed one, which is the sequel to that record. And if this is your first time joining us, y'all, here at Reactions to the Classics, we take a look back at some of the most classic albums of all time and do a detailed track-by-track review. And just like today, it's usually the first time we've heard the record. If that sounds like something interesting to you, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. And if you'd like to link up with us more, we have a really good Facebook group that's in the bottom in the description, as well as our Patreon if you would like to support us and get some perks yourself. All that to say, let's get into the quick facts.
This is his third studio album, released in September of 1970, peaked at number 8 in the US. It's number 74 on the Rolling Stones top 500 albums of all time. And many of these songs were actually written for a screenplay that never got made into a movie by Herb Bermann and Dean Stockwell. Somehow Neil had read this and asked Stockwell if he could write the soundtrack. He said, sure. So that's how the screenplay was named After the Gold Rush. That's how we got the title of this and that song.
This record takes a little bit of a different genre. It's more country folk as opposed to the more rocking Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere. He recorded this with Crazy Horse yet again at Sunset Studios, and he also recorded in his basement with Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young bassist Greg Reeves, Crazy Horse drummer Ralph Molina, and 18-year-old music prodigy Niles Lofgren on piano and guitar. And it's a little interesting because Lofgren never had played piano really before, and Neil asked him to come and play the keys. So that's the makeup of who's on this record.
Yeah, it gives you a little glimpse into, I guess, Neil was very good at spotting talent, and also of Niles. You know, Niles obviously went on to huge fame on his own and in the E Street Band with Springsteen. Some people thought that Neil purposely brought together parts of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young and Crazy Horse and merged them into this album, as Stephen Stills contributed backing vocals to Only Love Can Break Your Heart. Brings us to our opening track, Tell Me Why. And this, you can tell right away, you mentioned it, this is not Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere. This is a strip back. You only hear 2 acoustic guitars played by Neil and by Lofgren. So you just know you're kind of in for a different sort of ride here.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a very famous line, probably the most famous in the album. Tell me why, is it hard to make arrangements with yourself when you're old enough to repay, but young enough to sell? Neil also paints some great imagery in the first lines, and I think his lyrical game did step up.
Oh, I think it definitely did.
In this record, and as you mentioned, it kind of sets the melancholy tune that permeates through much of this album. So I thought it was a great opening track.
Yeah, I really did enjoy it. I thought the first 3 tracks in particular were just a fantastic way to start, all in the same tone, which brings us to the title track, After the Gold Rush.
A unique song because it really is talking about the environment, tackling a social issue, and it's unique in the fact that there's 3 verses and it deals with the past. There's a medieval celebration, the present, he's in the basement, some even interpreted as almost like a nuclear bomb might have gone off, and then the future where the spaceships are taking the chosen ones away because Mother Nature has just been degraded so much. Like you, I thought this was another great song with some of the best lyrics, I think, and got you thinking about the environment.
Yeah, I think on the lyrics it's interesting because they asked Neil what the lyrics meant, and his answer was, I quote, "Hell, I don't know. It just depends on whatever I was taking at the time." I guess I was taking 3 different things, and each verse is about that. So Neil was doing a lot of drugs at the time, so if he wrote this in a drug-induced state, he writes lyrics better in a drug-induced state than 95% of people do totally clear. So yeah, for me, this is one of the standouts on the album, which brings us to one of your favorites. I know Only Love Can Break Your Heart. Supposedly Neil wrote this for Graham Nash and his breakup with Joni Mitchell, but later on Neil was kind of, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. It was his first top 40 hit in the U.S.
Yeah, this is my favorite track on the entire record. Those harmonies, man, on that chorus.
They're excellent.
Really hit you. Got Neil getting people in their feels on this song. Really talking about this guy is going through a breakup. He's got his head in a dream. He just doesn't want to deal really with anybody. And love has broken his heart like nothing else. A message that I think a lot of people can relate to. And Neil's, we haven't mentioned him much, but he's got a very unique voice.
You know it's him immediately.
It took a little bit for me to get used to that higher tone than he was doing in his previous record. But
yeah, and I think it's stripped back and you notice it more because there's not as much instrumentation as it was in the previous album.
And I think it fits though with the heartbreak tone through much of this record. So kudos to him there. And then we go on to the most hard rocking song in this album, Southern Man. This deals especially with the racism of the South. Critical song of how slaves were treated. He tells them to look at your good book, because the white Christians really were oppressing and enslaving and doing a bunch of horrible things, obviously, to African Americans.
Yeah, exactly, and I think it's a really great statement. Now, Leonard Skinner took exception to this song and then another song on his next album, Harvest, called Alabama, and actually supposedly wrote Sweet Home Alabama as an answer to Neil Young, both this song and the Alabama song on the Harvest.
I had no idea they actually name dropped Neil Young in Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah, they did. He's stepping right up, especially during this time, guys. This is 1969 when he wrote it, 1970 when it was released. To come out with something like this in a severely racist South still is quite the bold thing to do when you're trying to sell albums and have commercial appeal.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we've got to make note of his great guitar solo here. It kind of reflects that anger and passion.
It does. It's very long and it's very good.
That he has. So a great track from Neil here. And then that'll take us to Till the Morning Comes. This is only a little over a minute long. 4 lines repeat throughout the song. Takes us back, cools us down from Southern Man.
Yeah, it's fine for me. I think it has a purpose in there in what you said, that little segue, which takes us to the B-side, Oh Lonesome Me. This song was written originally by Don Gibson in 1957. It's basically a track about this woman has left him. She's moved on, Neil's assuming. So he just sits at home and doesn't go out and do anything or have fun. He assumes she's doing that, but he would take her back in a heartbeat. Very good lyrical song. Neil didn't write it, obviously, but it tells a great story.
Yeah, it's a great cover in the sense that it just fits right into the theme of love and heartbreak in this album. You have the harmonica thrown in there.
Very suited to his musical style.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm with you. This was another hit for me. Almost had a little bluesy twang to it as well. And then that'll take us to track 7, Don't Let It Bring You Down. Neil runs down some bad events that were happening around town. A homeless man's on the side of the road, and then when the morning comes, people realize that he is dead. A blind man possibly gets run over by a car. The key message here in the chorus is to turn to people that care and don't let life bring you down.
Yeah, life's going to be tough, and these are extreme examples, and he's just telling you that's part of life, and you got to kind of get through it and still have a positive outlook. It's all right for me. Kind of a middle of the road song for this album.
Yeah, I'm with you there. A little bit, just kind of on the back burner, just because there were some strong songs before.
Fine song.
But then that'll take us to the next track,
Birds. And it's about the nature of a relationship, and someone has left, kind of like a bird flying away. I like this song a lot. It's my favorite song of the B-side. I think it tells a great story. I think his singing on this is spot on. It's just a beautiful song. Oh yeah,
one of my favorite lines in the whole record's here. Tomorrow, see the things that never came today. We always want to look ahead because we think tomorrow our circumstances might be better. So I think that line really reflects that attitude, and I'm with you. This was a definite highlight from the B-side. And then that'll take us to
When You Dance, I Can Really Love You. Was released as a single. It only went to 93 in the US.
Yeah, and this gets back to the electric guitar a little bit more. It's unique on the B-side in that sense, and the lyrics are pretty straightforward. afterward. He sees a girl, sees her dancing, kind of gets the hots for her.
He
and
wants to go visit, wants to come over that night.
Exactly. So, you know, again, kind of a middle of the road track for me, especially coming after Birds.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's still solid vocal performance and all that. And then we start to close out the album with our next track,
I Believe in You, which dials it back again. It's a very sparse arrangement. The title is positive, but it really, the lyrics, when you dive into them, kind of tells you he's kind of reluctant to love again, not sure that he can.
Yeah, he tells her, how can I place you above me, which is obviously a big theme in relationships and love. There's got to be some selflessness there, even though a lot of people's nature is to be selfish. So I thought that was a unique spin to
Yeah, I agree.
to everything, and kind of flip the point of view where a lot of this album is talking about the person being heartbroken, and here it's like, do I even want love?
Yeah, I got to take care of me. So it's kind of some honesty here from Neil.
Exactly. So I thought it was a solid track. And then we end with about a 1.5 minute long track, Cripple Creek Ferry. This is the, you know, kind of an outlier of a song.
It very much is on this album. It doesn't quite fit musically. It's fine. It sounds more of almost like a Creedence Clearwater Revival, maybe a CSNY kind of thing. It's fine. He sounds good. Nice harmonies.
Yeah. The harmonies are the thing that I wrote down that stuck out to me.
Yeah.
And throughout the record, though, those harmonies kind of took me back, just because I didn't expect Neil Young to be bringing that out.
I agree.
And then that'll take us to our favorite tracks.
Yeah, for me, the first three especially. You know, Tell Me Why, the title track,
and Only Love Can
and
Break
Only
Your
Love Can
Heart.
Break Your Heart. I also like Birds. It's a very, very solid album.
And then Southern Man, just for the passion.
For the passion and the content.
Exactly. And then we'll go to our overall score. For me, I definitely like this more than Everybody Knows.
So
This
do I.
Is Nowhere. I still like that record as well, but this was definitely a step up. This is an album I just envision putting on like a gloomy October, weekend day. It's overcast outside when we throw on some Neil Young, and even the cover, when you look at it, kind of has that, dreariness to it. So for me, I'm going to give it a solid 8.5 out of 10, and I'm looking forward to diving into Harvest.
Harvest, that'd be great. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'll echo those thoughts. I'm going to go 8.25. I definitely liked it better than the previous album. I like that album as well. But yeah, I never really had listened much to Neil. He's a little bit before my time. The stuff I knew of him was way later on, and it was just like, okay. So yeah, very much kind of a little hidden gem here for me.
And let us know what you think of After the Gold Rush in the comments below. What is your favorite track? As always, Dad, appreciate the research, and be sure to hit that big red subscribe button, y'all. We upload twice a week in a variety of genres. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. Happy listening, and we will see ya.